because everything that you will have in the future in your career journey depends on decisions you make. What does it mean to be committed to your career goals? Have you ever felt that you were committed and dedicated to achieving your career goals, certain career milestones that you set out for yourself, and you're trying so hard every day to accomplish those milestones, to reach those career goals, and you're just frustrated with the progress. You're frustrated that you're not moving forward the way that you want. You're not moving forward at the pace that you want. Right? If you notice today, I'm wearing a very special t-shirt, and I'll get to what it means in a minute. But first, let me tell you a story. When I was in college, in the early 2000s, around there was just brain drain into the United States. I was in college in Vancouver at the time, and there were a lot of reports of a lot of people moving to the United States to get jobs because that's where the opportunities were. And I myself, I was kind of captivated by that idea of going to the United States, and I pictured myself getting my citizenship and eventually settling into the United States. And I had my sights set for California. I wanted to go to UCSD, in California, and I wanted to go to school there and eventually settle in California. And so I decided that, well, maybe it might be a good idea to learn Spanish, because I thought that learning Spanish and becoming fluent in Spanish would help me with getting citizenship in the US. So I set out to learn Spanish and obtain some level of fluency there. And my first Spanish class in university, my professor was from Colombia. She came from Colombia, she immigrated into Vancouver, and she became a professor teaching her and sharing her knowledge in Spanish and of the Spanish culture as well. And one of the stories she told me was a story of Pablo Escobar. If you know a little bit of Colombian history, Pablo Escobar was one of the most notorious drug lords in Colombia, and he was around born in 1946, and he was killed by gunshot in 1993. But he was really famous for drug trafficking and also bribery. So whenever he came across government or law enforcement officials, he would bribe them, and he would say to them, "Plato o plomo."
Una cosa, señor Escobar, que ni siquiera es capaz de esconder su mercancía, su contrabando.
Es que yo pago por el privilegio, coronel.
¿Ah, sí? Me diga.
¿Y los papeles de importación? Necesita papeles para esos televisores.
Lléveselos.
Qué pena, señor Escobar, pero es que nosotros no somos la policía de Medellín que se gana una mierda a la semana.
No, hermana, es que no es para usted.
Entonces...
Es para Carlitos, su hijo. ¿Cree pues que le gustaría tener un televisor en el cuarto? Y oiga, Pinilla, su hija acaba de sacar el pase, ¿cierto? Pues ahí tenemos unos sistemas de sonidos para carros, pues, muy bacanos. Y oiga, coronel, ¿su mamá cómo está? ¿Salió de la clínica o qué?
Sí, ya está más aliviada.
Ah, es que bueno, eso nos alegra mucho, ¿sí o qué? Señores, les voy a decir quién soy. Yo soy Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria. Mis ojos están en todos lados, o sea, ustedes no pueden hacer una puta sola mierda en el departamento de Antioquia sin que yo me entere. Sí, señores, no pueden mover un dedo. Un día yo voy a ser presidente de la República de Colombia. Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo. Ustedes eligen.
Velos.
Listo, pues.
Plato o plomo, which meant it was Spanish for silver or lead, right? And so what it means is that he would come across these government officials who wouldn't want to let him pass, and then he would bribe them with all the things that he would have in his truck, bribe them with TVs and jewelry or things like that, and then he would tell them, and he would give them a choice. He would say plata o plomo, and every time they would choose plata, they would choose silver, and they would let him pass, right? So how does this relate to your career, right? Your career is in every career decision, in every career journey that you also have a choice. When you are truly committed to your career, when you are truly committed to your career goals and accomplishing those milestones, it means that you are not creating excuses for yourself. It means you're not giving yourself a way out. It means that you are all in. It means that you have a mindset of an understanding that every decision you make along your journey is going to lead to one or the other. It's going to lead to plata or plomo. It is going to, in other words, it's leading to silver or lead, right? So Pablo Escobar gave them a choice. Plata or Plomo? In other words, are you wanting to give silver or a lead bullet, right? To do or die. So the same thing is true with your career. When you are committed, when you are all in, you are having that mindset that there is no other choice. This is the choice. It is either do Plata or Plomo. So if you find yourself not moving forward at the pace that you want, it's time to reflect on your level of commitment. How committed are you to your career goals? And are you giving yourself a way out? Are there ways, are you creating an environment for yourself, cultivating a culture, an internal culture where it is Plata or Plomo and there's no other choice, right? And doing this really gives you that sense of urgency to accomplish, that sense of urgency that you need to succeed. And that's the first thing, is your sense of urgency. Because one of the biggest dangers and roadblocks to accomplishing and achieving your career goals is complacency. Right? And sometimes complacency disguises itself as many different things, like as fatigue, or maybe not feeling like doing something, or not feeling motivated, right? So sometimes you don't realize it, but complacency can set in. So if you think to yourself, Plata or Plomo, there's no other choice, right? At the end of your journey, at the end of each decision you make in your career, it is either Plata or Plomo, silver or lead, right? In other words, the money or a lead bullet, right? Do or die. It is either one of those. If you give yourself that sense of urgency, then it will carry you along the way and you will be able to weather the storm. One of the biggest blessings in my early life was that I didn't have parents who supported me through college. So after high school, I didn't have parents who would give me money for tuition. They didn't pay for my college. They didn't pay for my cost of living. So at 17, 18, I knew that I was going to be responsible for the rest of my life. But I wanted to go to college. For me, that was my definition of success. And I didn't know any other way than to go to school, get a good job, and get paid a good salary. And so that was a blessing in disguise. Back then, it was a headache not having that backup plan, not having support like that. But in retrospect, it was a real blessing, because that's what gave me the sense of urgency. That's what gave me the mindset of Plata or Plomo. I wanted freedom in my life. I wanted independence. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to have a career with fulfillment. And to me, education was the only way there. And I found a way to make it work because I had that sense of urgency. Because for me, it was silver or lead. And there was no other choice. And there are clues to this wisdom right there in the English language, because everything that you will have in the future in your career journey depends on decisions you make. And if you look at the word decide, to decide in English comes from Latin, and it comes from the Latin root decidere. And what it means is to cut off, right? From the Latin word decidere, it means to cut off. So when you are deciding on something, you are cutting off all other options. And there's no other option except the one that you chose. So then there's no other choice but to go all in and to be fully committed. I mean, Tony Robbins said it best. He's known to say that if you want to take the island, you got to burn the boats. And that is the definition of going all in. Because when you go all in and you are truly committed, when it's in your mind, it's Plata or Plomo, and you're going all in, it means that you're giving yourself that opportunity to gain insights. When you go all in on something and you decide to go this career trajectory, to achieve those career goals, it means you are cutting off all your other choices, but to go forward in this direction. And when you do so, you are giving yourself an opportunity, your mind, to have the experiences you need to have to build on the insights in that career trajectory. So I talk to a lot of people. I mean, most people, when they're in a position, when they're at a company, they have this position and they really want to accelerate their career, they want to take their career to the next level, they're always looking for a way out. They're always keeping their eye out on other opportunities, or maybe even submitting applications once in a while because they're afraid to fail in that one direction. So it's kind of like they have their one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. And when you do that, it's not possible to be all in. It's not possible to be committed if you have your foot on the accelerator and your foot on the brake at the same time. Right? So if you're listening to this and you have not yet experienced what it's like to be fully committed, what it's like to have the mindset of Plata or Plomo, I invite you into this 4-day training that I've created for you, free of charge. 4-day training where you can just go through that training, see if it's right for you, and learn the principles of career acceleration. So I invite you to go to my free training at careerrevisionist.com/training. That's careerrevisionist.com/training. I'll put the link below. So So are you committed to achieving your career goals? Are you all in terms of getting the success and the achievements that you want? Comment below and say, I am committed if that is you. And if you've enjoyed my comment, give me a thumbs up as well. Also remember to subscribe, ring that bell so you receive notifications each time I upload a new video.